Other tips for you: always have your batteries charged. Have too many memory cards. Too many is the right number to have. The right amount is the wrong amount to have, because the right amount is too many. That's a little messed up, but anyway, have way more than you need. You never know, someone might want to give you data of some kind. And just keep track of your cards, mark your cards so people don't steal them. They're like expensive lighters or something if you were a smoker, you know. People will take your stuff. So that is another question, and that could be a whole other video, is how to pass your data into the Bosque Village publication system. How to turn your shit over. You know, how we can do the dailies. Maybe. And different things for different days. That's the thing, is we're sculpting a place, we're sculpting a time experience, and a way of creating something. It's actually a different genre of creation, and it's a different genre conceptually, and in the editing. But I think partly we don't have to edit. See, if everyone is using their own cameras and equipment to publish, then there is no central camera team. So for the moment, let's not talk about the central camera team, and let's talk about more amateur people who would like to improve their photography in this odd documentary experiential style. So that means you're going to have to be more diligent about making sure your things are plugged in and charged, because this place has barely any electricity. I'd like to change that. You know, I'm really proud of myself that I have gotten to a point of needing almost nothing, and now I've got dead batteries almost. So I'm just sitting here in the dark. But it's good to do that. But that being said, if I'm going to have you here and you charging your stuff, and essentially have 4 to 5 small groups of friends or teams assembled here of individuals, and they have roles, just like on the show The Island, where you have as many people good as cameras as you can. Now, in The Island, you only have like one camera team, and they're usually not seen in the same shot. So they're a hidden camera that the participants talk into. I don't think we need to just do that. We can record any kind of interaction we wish with anyone, with some caveats. I'll tell you what we publish and what we don't publish. So some examples of fun things to publish would be people talking about what they know about. Everything is a TED Talk. So if somebody has an opinion as we bounce ideas around, because I invite really dynamic, interesting thinkers here, and fun people in other ways too. But so we can just get used to being on camera together, and you can eavesdrop on us. It's basically a podcast, perhaps a little bit more motion. Now, regarding motion, well, let me come back to that. Really quick, with motion, I'm holding the camera maybe too low right now. My hand's tired. I don't have a steady cam. I'm walking worse than normal. So, I hope it doesn't bug you that I'm walking, but I need an excuse to walk, and I tried to get like iPhone things and all that, and like nothing making me walk. I'm not getting better. So optimistic thing to do is to chat with you while we walk around. Kind of one-sided conversation. Not really. You can comment anywhere you want. You can write a fucking essay. You can make a video. I'd prefer you make a video in a response. I don't give a shit about anonymous comments on YouTube, because most of them are dumb, and the anonymity of it bothers me. You know who you're talking to when you're talking to me, but if I don't know who you are when I'm talking to you, then fuck you, I'm not going to talk to you. Those are some rules to use on my internet, for me personally, is I'm sick of anonymous people. Don't like them. So I shut them down pretty quick. I'm kind of short with them. I should probably make a little note that when I respond to an anonymous person, if that is affecting my content, which it does heavily, like somebody anonymous will get a completely different response from me, depending on whether they have a profile and whether I know who they are. I guess if I don't, then they'll get a much shorter one. Anyway, other methods of recording yourself here, or thoughts about recording yourself, are begin doing it now. In your life, wherever you're at, with your phone. That's all you fucking need. If your phone's not good enough, get a new phone. I do not currently like vlogging via phones, but that's because I only recently got a smartphone, and it seems clumsy and weird, although I see some people glue something on the back as a handle. I don't know what's going on, but you have to learn about that on your own. And then for handheld cameras and other cameras, I can help out. Audio is really important. If your audio sucks, then your video sucks. So anyway, back to starting right now. You can start in anything interesting you can think of doing, because we've got our interesting things here. We got a big list of fun shit to do. Some of it's even important and might save the world. Other of it's just fun. And so you can start now. I don't know what's interesting in your life, and just record it for yourself. Just start doing vlogging for yourself. Just go ahead and become a vlogger, and that will also help me know who you are. Because if I don't like anonymous people who are commenting on the internet, you can sure as heck bet that, sorry, I'm just, fucked up. I do wonder who gets offended by that kind of thing anyway. And I sort of have a stereotype to correlate with people I don't want to know for other reasons as well. Because my mouth's just not going to be controlled with people right around me all the time. I got shit to say, and sometimes I got to say fuck. Fuck. Anyway, so you can start rambling at the camera, which I don't recommend because you might say dumb shit about cursing, and then people will judge you negatively. Anything you say, people are going to say, "Oh, you're a total dumbass, and you're evil and bad, and you're this bad insult." There's a big list of them, and they're all meaningless bullshit. Anyway, but you're going to get that if you do this. You could instead become a cameraman of other things, and that's a really great thing to do. So you have to get the consent of the people you're going to record. Now, somebody like a street musician, at this point, I think the general custom in the States is you just shoot the fuck out of them. I see videos of people just recording other people all the time in the States. So maybe I'm talking to the choir here, preaching to the choir, and other people already know how to make better clips. But I guess up your game, whatever your level is at, right? Read about, top 10 ways to improve your videos when you're using any kind of camera, but in this case a phone, because I can't advise you that well. In fact, you could teach me how to use my phone better. It'd be great. Because this thing is kind of bulky, and I have my phone with me. Oh shit, no I don't. I rarely do actually. Which is really dumb, because like right now I could fall over somewhere, and that would be, if I got injured really bad, very bad. And a phone could make that not as bad. Oh, there's so many things weird about filming here. Now, okay, so in your life now, that means you can ask at a birthday party, can I film the kid blowing out the candles? Okay, that's pretty officially okay. Pretty boring though, because we've seen those. And so, what are the oddest things you can record? It could be that you start interviewing your friends and asking them random questions. I mean, that seems like a show everyone can do, right? Actually, in little festival things I've had, I have the questions game, and I've played it around fire pits. I haven't done it for a long time. I haven't had the right number of people. Really, for it to feel comfy, I think you can do it with 2 people, you can do it with 3, whatever. But the ideal campfire number of people for the questions game would be around 10, and maybe 2 other people who were helping, or basically have a staff behind it as well. In the case of here, we would actually film that. This is just an idea of the kind of things I'm thinking about for here, right? We've done these before, where you have these things where you have the question bounce from person to person. So then the rules of the game are, God, this big distraction. God. Oh, fuck. At least there's less shit in the road now. There's still holes everywhere and stumps. I make sure I don't fall over on something. This is like totally uneven. Actually, it's the flattest spot I have, but it's still fucked. Anyway, so behind the view in this case, because there's internet and there's electricity, what you do is you could try and film the questions game. And here's how the question games goes. But I'm going to tell you about the set first, because I want you to start thinking about how we could build sets here, how we could do everything about media production. Think like a filmmaker, okay? And you don't have to be a filmmaker. You could be an accountant. You could be a lumberjack. I do not give a shit. But by improving your ability to record and publish, things into, it includes imagine things that you would record. Make sure it's entertaining and people oriented, because everything here is people oriented. The people are the show. I mean, the trees don't jump around a lot. They do jump around really slowly, but it takes decades. So, oh yeah. So, I don't know what's interesting around you. You do. Get a goofy thing of an animal. That's good to start with, but that's boring too. If you can get people talking to your philosophy, you can play the questions game with them. You ask them the question. Here's how it goes with you too. Okay, I'll focus on that rather than the setup for the filming it here. That's more complex. God damn. Oh my God. Well, that's great. Get some footage of me wiping my nose. That's very attractive, I'm sure. I have a fucking tissue. And it's hard to get everything. That's one of the most frustrating things about the last year is just the difficulty of tiny things until it makes you not want to do any things because all of them are too hard. I'm getting over that now. Today is a great day. I walked upstairs once or twice, and I'm going to try and live up there. It's a total pigsty. It's astounding what a mess. No one's lived up there for 2 years. There's rat shit, bat pee. And then, of course, there's this other animal that lived up there, and he just dumped his crap all over the place. It's still a fairly organized mess, but I can't have someone else clean it up because they'll mix all my papers together and shit because I got stacks of papers. And also we're always weird to have somebody come into your home and clean it. But in this case, I mean, it's like really, really disgusting. And it hasn't been cleaned, not just in 2 years, really. That's when the accident was. But it wasn't clean before that. It was really dirty then. So it's probably been 6 or 7 years since that space has been cleaned. And that is the place I live in full time. I pee off the porch. I use a pee funnel into a pee garden, actually. You should learn about that. And I've got my little gas stove up there so I can have tea, because this is a very cold building, actually. It's a great climate, and I built my buildings wrong, and I could have done so much better, but I know more now. And we have done some. We've done some cob ones. Anyway, you can ask your friend any question. So I'm going to put a link. I don't know what questions to ask right now. Actually, we could talk about that. What questions do you start out with on the questions game? First of all, it's all about attitude. And there's usually a person, and they're usually me, who starts the game. One time I went to a fire, and there was a question game going on, and I was totally surprised. And I sat down, and they asked me if I believed in God or not. I believe it was. And so I gave my answer to that. Now, I thought other people had already given their answers, and there was probably a variety or something. I don't know. That's what I thought. And so then I said, well, so how many more people? And I said, well, you're the first one to go. So I show up to a questions game, and I get ambushed by this immediate, big, huge question in a group where most people are highly religious and definitely very theistic. And to say you're an atheist is sort of like saying, I'm going to go get the axe and murder all of you. Some people really somehow think atheists have no ethics, and it's like the most bizarre thing in the world. And I was raised to think that there was something terrible about them, and they were getting hit by lightning by God. I was very young at that point. And they had pamphlets on how evil atheists are. And so, and atheists are just the worst on many, many scales. People really don't like them. So I just said to people in my land, around my fire, that I'm probably to most of them, I'm just this really, really bad person. I mean, they may have never hardly met atheists, some people here. So that was interesting. And I actually never followed up on that because it took me years to figure out that that's how I felt about that. That was just a really odd thing. It was funny, though. It cracks me up. And the question game what I did was I asked another question. The person who answers a question asks a question to somebody else. They pick that person however the fuck they want. But you should just bounce it around a lot. I always try and pick the person who's speaking the least. because that makes total sense. Because we don't want the same fucking people talking so much or so long. Also, your answer shouldn't be super long, and don't do follow-up answers. These are the rules of the question game. The reason to not have follow-up answers, so like I'm asked a question, I give my answer, and it should be very, very rare cases in which someone says anything. And it better not be something that is about the issue to cause a discussion. This is the questions game. It's made of questions. It's not the discussion game. You can discuss things later. This is a rapid way to bounce ideas back and forth and find out about people. Don't ask sexual questions unless that's like your group, and you know that. But don't be the dumbass who does it when no one else did it. The host, you can often follow the guide of the host because the host knows who's there, and so they're better able to guess what would be appropriate for the group. So let your host set the level of alternativeness. Some people avoid politics, some people don't. I think I would rather avoid it. I would rather avoid religion, unless it's sort of about religion itself. But like, I don't want to hear discourses on anybody's religion, and I don't have time to listen to them all, and I'm not going to have as many people around me if they all want to give me their religious stuff at me. I can go read their books. Give me a book. I have religious books. I've collected them all my life. I've actually read all but the ones that I didn't want to read. So 90% of them, you know. And some of them were odd books about all kinds of spiritual shit. So I'll listen to that. That's great. And that's another activity thought is don't do activities that you don't want to publish. Now, here's some of the ones okay, so back in your own life, I hope you're thinking, I hope you're making your list right now. Anything you can think of. Who's the weirdest person you know? And what questions can you ask them? Okay? Now, anyway, we'll figure out the questions later. But they're supposed to be lighthearted, okay, generally, open, and of course, questions that aren't just yes or no are better. And that's also on the responsibility of the person being asked, because we shouldn't have to formulate every question as forcing it to be open-ended, okay? A person who says yes or no can then explain why yes or no. Yes or no, in fact, is not a good answer, okay? So don't respond to a yes or no question with a yes or no. Sure, you can start out with yes or no, but then you got to fill in something interesting about your thoughts. You know, why do you think that? And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to even agree with yourself. You know, you can explore the damn idea in a friendly, happy way and then bounce it back. We'll probably learn as we go along, and I think each group has their own culture of this, of what's appropriate questions, what's interesting questions or not. Like, if I went to a fire with a bunch of Mexicans and foreigners, I would actually not want to have the fire be all about differences between Mexico and the U.S. Well, actually, that's not a bad one, if I had the right balance and the right people. And people don't know the topic, but I often inject the topic via my questions, and I have the kind of people who pick up on that, and we can follow trains of thought as this really rapidly going back and forth question-answer game. Don't ask people things that are too personal that they wouldn't want to say. This is not truth or dare. And nobody has to answer you. I guess if you're asked something and you really don't want to fucking answer it, I don't think you're under any obligation to do so. And to force you to would ruin the game for you a little bit and maybe other people. So I think that it's better sometimes, and it should be rare, when you just say pass. And then you pick a person who you ask a question to. Could you even pass on asking the question? Well, good Lord, if you're not going to ask questions and answer them, you're not in the game. So it should be super, super rare for you to not answer the full question with yes, because, yes, maybe, yes, but, and I know whatever. Explore the damn idea. That's what you're there for. Otherwise, get out of the game. Have a set of questions ready, whatever. I mean, have them in your head. Prep them. Do it like fortune cookies. You know how you write fortune cookies? I did that. I had custom ones made. It was a blast. They made them for me in an international district in Seattle. All I had to do was give them the fortunes, which I made with a spreadsheet. It was great. And it was hilarious. Great party icebreaker. But have your questions set up. I mean, you could even have a list of them, a physical goddamn list, if that's what it takes for you to be a good player. Now, I don't personally do that. I completely wing it. And I'm largely winging it based on the group. And it's really better if the group wings it on their own too. But if you don't have so go with the flow and ask the question that's really appropriate to the setting.